And good morning and welcome to the morning show. I'm Marshall Shore, and you might notice that Melissa is still out of town. So we have the delightful Courtney joining us.
Woo!
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, and Courtney, where are we?
We are at the
Fabulous Arizona Center. Indeed we are. And happy Monday to you all for watching us on this delightful Monday morning. We've got a great show coming up. We've got a good guest talking about some really important information coming up in just a bit. But first we have our word of the day, which today for Monday, March 24th, today is quinquagenarian, which means 50 years old, characteristics of a person of such an age.
You said that great. Quinquagenarian.
Yeah, we had to look it up. It was kind of, it's like there's a mouthful there.
That's a mouthful.
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, it was almost like going to IKEA. It's like there's so many vowels and lots of U's. There's 2 U's, 3 A. Wow, 4 A's. Wow. All right, and so their sentence is, when Kiera was a child, quinquagenarian seemed ancient, but now that she's 50 herself, she thinks of them as the prime of her life.
50's just a baby. We're just getting started.
Exactly. I mean, so much more to learn about yourself and others in the world. So we are happy you're joining us so we can learn about each other, learn about the world, and share our love of all things local right here in Arizona. So thank you for being here. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with a guest. Well, good morning and welcome back to the morning show on this Monday. I'm Marshall Shore.
I'm Courtney Faylong.
And we're here at the fabulous Arizona Center. And we have a great guest talking about a serious issue in town that I'm looking forward to learning more about. And so we have Nathan, who is with Cass.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, thank you. So tell us a little about you and Cass.
Okay, so for me personally, I've been working in the homeless field for going on 17 years now, so it's been something that I've committed most of my adult life to. I came from a place called Phoenix Rescue Mission that also serves people who are experiencing homelessness with a little bit of a different program model. I was a chief program officer over there. I worked there for 10 years and was a chief for about 5. Opportunity came up to be CEO at Cass, and it's actually an agency that I'd had my eye on for a little while. And when the opportunity came, I immediately reached out and put my name in the hat. The reason why I thought Cass would be a good place to go is because if you're working in homelessness and you want to make an impact and you want to touch a lot of people, Cass is the biggest homeless shelter agency in the state of Arizona. On any given night, we're getting 900 people off the streets in one of our 3 shelter facilities. The main place that people know Cass for is the single adult shelter where 600 people come to stay every single night. So for me, when I saw an opportunity to potentially make an even greater impact in the world of homelessness, and Cass had that position with the scope that it has, I thought, I have to try it. So here we are.
Cool. So what kind of things do you do at Cass?
So Cass as an organization, more than anything else, exists to get people into a shelter bed, and from that shelter bed, help them end their homelessness. So what that, and we have 3 different places where we offer the shelter. We have one place, it's again, like I mentioned, the big single adult shelter in the downtown Phoenix area, for which we're best known. We also have another family shelter. It's called Vista Colina Family Shelter, and it's 30 units, formerly an apartment complex that we converted into an emergency shelter. So people, then those families need a little extra time to stay, so they stay for about 6 months or so is the target stay. Okay. And then we have another one that we just actually opened in late December. It's it's one of a kind, actually. I cannot find across the country another like this, which is 130 units, former motel we converted into an emergency shelter for people who are 55 and older. So I can't find another senior-focused homeless shelter of that size across the country. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I just can't find one. So it's very unique.
Yeah, I was a social worker for many years and interned at a family homeless shelter in Michigan.
Okay.
I've also never heard of that for 55 plus.
Yeah, not
That's
at that scale.
incredible.
There are some 20 unit places, some 15 unit places, but 130 units. And so I could go deep into every single one of those, and maybe we will here today. But across, just in general, that's the main thing that we do, is we get people into one of those 3 shelters.
Wow. And what do you wish that people knew about homelessness?
Yeah, well, first off, I want people to know that what they see of homelessness isn't the whole story, right? And even what you see, when you look at someone who's, maybe on I-17 or Frontage Road or something like that, or someone who's sleeping in a park, oftentimes what can come to mind is, this person just needs to get a job. Or something of that nature. And maybe that's true, actually, in a lot of cases, but there's so much more that goes to that story. And so what I would like people to know is, there's an example of a well-rounded story, how people actually end up in homelessness. We had a guy who showed up at our single adult shelters, a 61-year-old man. And the single adult shelter in the downtown Phoenix area is not the best place for you to go, but it is a place for you to go. So I'm glad we have it. We must have it. He shows up after having gotten evicted because he went to the hospital for 3 weeks because he had a mild stroke, came out, and because he hadn't paid his rent, he was evicted.
Wow.
And he shows up as a 61-year-old man who now has been diagnosed with aphasia, the same thing taking Bruce Willis down. He shows up at the single adult shelter. And from there, he has no resources, nothing to his name. And him being asleep in a park is not just a guy who needs to get a job. It's much more than that. And the other thing that I want people to know is when we finally get a hold of this guy, we're able to find where he's got some money saved in a bank account that with a credit union he otherwise couldn't access. He tried to get the money himself, but the aphasia is making it so he can't speak for himself on the phone. So our case manager goes the extra mile, gets on the phone, eventually gets with the vice president of the bank, and we get that money, and we're preparing to move him into a housing unit. Right, so that's what I want people to know is, again, he's not just some bum who needs a job.
Right.
He's a guy who has a lot going on. He cannot work at this point. And if we were not here, God only knows how long he'd live.
Right.
Well, and that's the thing to remember, that all these folks are individuals, and they have a story, and you don't know what that story is. Now, you have a better idea of what that story is because you get to spend time with them.
Yeah.
What others, so you were talking like a case manager, so what other types of services does CAST provide?
So that we do a bunch of small things that are
They
really
don't sound that small.
Yeah, like one of the big things that we have actually is we have this empowerment center out there in the Glendale area, which is basically like a place where we catch people who need to get placed somewhere. It's sort of like a triage unit out there in Glendale. And a lot of those people get triaged into one of our shelters. And so we offer that. We do a lot of work there. But what I think I would highlight is not so much what all do we do, as much as what all does case management do. So that one thing right there has got a lot of juice to squeeze because it is as diverse as all the situations that arise that people face, right? So I gave you one scenario, but there are people who are coming in with a whole lot of other mixed up problems. Some of them are coming in because they fell out of their housing as a result of their housing voucher having timed out that they once had. Some people come into homelessness because they had an economic problem, and then on top of that, they suffered a broken heart when they lost a spouse, and then they come in and they need those things. Some people have $10,000 worth of legal fines that need to be resolved some way or another, and there's a bunch of things. So the case manager then gets on the phone, calls someone. That person, the other agency doesn't answer the phone. Or they do answer the phone and they give really bad guidance and it doesn't work. And they keep going until the situation is resolved. And that is the magic, right? That is the thing, is that these professional problem solvers continue to push until the problems get solved and people now have those barriers removed so that they can move off the streets. And so it's really, case management is the sauce. But we do some other things. One of my favorites, I'll just give you one quick example. One of my favorites is when you work with people who are 55 and older, of course, they're naturally going to have oftentimes more cognitive issues. 55 is not old. Okay, we were just talking about, what was it, quinquagenarians.
Yes, exactly.
As I close in on that, I don't feel like it's all that old. Right. But, if you're homeless and you're above 50, there was a study done that says that your body age is about 10 or 20 years older than your housed counterparts, right? So a 55-year-old could be a 65 or 75-year-old in body age oftentimes. And so for us, what we do at our senior shelter is we have a partnership with an organization called Circle the City. They're a medical agency, a federally qualified health center. They come out and they're the primary care physician on site for those older adults. They come out once a week. We do a very basic cognitive screening. Sometimes folks screen somewhere on the dementia scale, and then we turn them over to Circle the City to do more neuro testing and eventually to connect to better resources. So we have our case manager solving as many problems as we can solve, but we leverage other partnerships. We don't provide that service. We leverage other partnerships to make sure that people get a good, well-rounded experience.
That's incredible. And one thing I'm really impressed by is it's not just the crisis mode, helping people get off the street just in the emergency mode. You're also helping people to get the resources they need. And it sounds like you also help people with their long-term plan, right?
Absolutely.
Whether it's medical care or if it is going back into employment or whatever, long-term shelter. Is that correct?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. I say when people come to us, while you're with us, one of our big goals is to help you improve your quality of life. So your healthcare situation, again, resolving your legal situation so that you can remove those barriers. Even getting access to dental care. Right next door to us is Brighter Way Dental on the single adult shelter. And so getting people connected to dental services. And I could go on down the line. For our seniors, it's getting them connected to some of the resources that we have in our neighborhood. Like senior centers, to help them increase their meaningful daily activity. That is so closely tied into cognitive decline when people sit down and maybe watch a screen and they just age by themselves in isolation versus get up, go for a walk, play some bingo with the friends at the senior center and things like that. So it's very important that we connect with those places because, to your point, we are trying to improve their quality of life as a start while they're with us, connect them to those resources so when they transition out, they still can continue to leverage those things that help them improve their quality of life. But also, and very importantly, again, help them get into permanent housing. So improve your quality of life while you're with us and then move into permanent housing. And now we've done a good job. We got you off the streets and we did those things in the middle and we hopefully got you on a permanent destination.
So how can people who are watching, how can they help?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we need is first to just keep telling this story, right? To keep telling the story that we have some agencies that are like Cass and others doing a lot of work to help truly get people's homelessness permanently ended. That once upon a time might have just felt like that's the thing that I'm supposed to say, right? But in this world now, and forget about how anyone leans politically, whatever, the reality of the matter is we have a lot of uncertainty around the future of funding coming into mine and other industries, right? And so in a world like that, I want to highlight the fact that there are some real life-changing, problem-solving work happening, and it keeps people from getting more and more stuck and having more and more burden on themselves. And I hate to say this, but that is it creates a social burden that we all have to pick up. There are better ways to solve problems. I want people to know that there are better ways and to tell the story of what's really happening with agencies like Cass and others. And then of course, hey, we run on money and we need a little bit more of it. And so if someone feels compelled to be a part of this work, consider giving $5 a month, $10 a month, a one-time gift of $100, using their tax credits as a write-off to donate.
Right. No, that's a great way.
And really just support the work because again, the federal funding is going to be very uncertain for a while.
Right. Yeah, and from what I see a lot of people thinking this is a separate issue. I've got my needs met. Well, there's homelessness, but I don't want to look at that as uncomfortable to think about. It makes me feel guilty, or just a separate issue for those people. And I really feel like on planet Earth, we're all in this together.
Yeah,
so it's like if anyone's homeless, that is all of our problem.
Yeah.
And I just love all the solutions you're providing. And I love even what you said, even if it's $5 a month, $10 a month, people can know that their money is going to really good cause that's truly, genuinely empowering people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is what I would want people to know is when you give your money to a place like Cass, that money, I can tell you exactly where that money is going and what it's going to do, and it's going to really do some real work. And another thing too that just to really consider is, you mentioned how everything is interconnected, and we as people are all interconnected. And there are better ways of us dealing with the social problems that are associated with homelessness than just letting people languish on the streets. Because here's a couple of examples of what happens. So if you are on the streets often, you are very frequently going to get picked up by police officers because you might be trespassing or doing something considered loitering. If they arrest you, I want to say it's like $643 or so for an arrest and an overnight stay at a Maricopa County jail. And every night after that, it's like $100 or $200.
Wow.
These people often stay on the streets, and unfortunately, that only exacerbates their health problems. Then guess where they go to get their basic care? The emergency room. And the emergency room might be a $2,000 stay if it's just a single night. And that might be way more if it's more complex of an issue that they're dealing with. And then they go back and they go back and they go back. And then if the emergency vehicle comes out and picks them up, we're talking at least $900 for that transport, right? So there's these massive social costs that we could be saving some real money on by taking these funds and sticking them into places that provide solutions. And I couldn't tell you on balance how much that's going to weigh out in terms of net dollars, but I tell you what, we'll save money by getting people off the streets.
Oh yeah, beautifully said.
So do you have any events coming up?
We do. We have a beds and breakfast event. It's a big event for the community. It's coming up on May 16th at 10:30. You can visit our website at cassaz.org to find out more information about that. But yeah, it's just a way for us to tell the story of what we're doing to the world, invite a bunch of people in. Maybe some of those people will decide to give that day. And I'll do my favorite thing, which is just keep getting the word out.
Which you're good at. I mean, it's obvious you have the passion and you've been doing this for so long that you really can see the difference that you're trying to make.
Yeah, I'll die trying.
Right.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah, absolutely. You can clearly see your passion, and I just love how you shared the story of the gentleman, I think he was 61 years old, and just these personal stories make all the difference, so that it's not just someone else's issue, but these are real humans struggling with real things that could happen with any of us.
Absolutely. And it does happen to any of us, right? I have family members who've struggled with these same things. One of the big differences is they have me, they have my mom, they have my cousins, and when they get to struggling in situations like this, we come together as a family, we marshal our little bitty resources together, and we take care of people. There are some folks out there who do not have that for any number of reasons. Sometimes it's a little bit of their own fault. Sometimes it's not. And if I lost all my relationships over things that were my fault, I'd have none left, right? So we just have people who we have to be there for them because they don't have that social net oftentimes to lean on, and then we'll help them rebuild that, again, through the neighborhood services and things like that. I mean, so yeah, I'm very passionate about how can we save lives and what will that take of me, of my team, and yeah, it probably obviously comes out a little bit. I can see that.
No, but I love the just the efforts that your whole team is putting forward to try and solve as many of these issues as you can.
Oh yeah.
Which is so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, tell people how they can find more information out about the
beds and breakfast.
Beds and breakfast.
Yeah, we like our jingles at Cass. For sure. We love our jingles. Yeah, so go to www.cassaz.org. And you can find out all kinds of information about what we're doing there, including some of our upcoming events. And yeah, just feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out to me directly from that site and let us know what your thoughts are about homelessness. Let us know what you think Cass can be doing better, or appreciate some of the things that we're already doing. That encouragement makes us double down on things. But yeah, just to find out more information, again, cassaz.org.
Great. Nathan, thank you so much for being here and helping educate us all.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a real honor. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we will be right back after this break with our usual stick of things to do, some history, and so much more. And good morning, welcome back to the morning show, and I am so happy to say, I'm Marshall Shore, but even happier to say, Melissa is still out of town, So we have the delightful
Courtney Fay Long.
co-hosting. So thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome, Marshall. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're having so much fun. And so we are here at the fabulous Arizona Center. And so we're going to we've got our usual shtick of things to do. So let's, without any further ado, say thank you to Nathan for being on as an amazing guest. But now it's time for some history. All right, so on this date back in 1926, the Clifton-Springerville Highway opened up through the Apache National Forest. Now, what is unique about that is it opened the door for the lumber industry in southern Arizona.
Oh, wow.
Which most people don't realize. And so you may have heard of the Black migration to Arizona through cotton, but this was McNary was the name of a town in Louisiana that this company moved from, bringing all their staff here. Most of the staff were African American. Wow. And so as time went on, and then there was a fire in the mine, or the mill eventually closed, a lot of those families started moving north. And so because they moved up in where there was already lumbering going on up north, and so they took that trade that they knew with them. So
Very
like former
interesting.
Mayor Coral Evans of Flagstaff, that's how her family got here, was through that Black migration of lumber.
Wow.
So, which I think is just a really cool piece of history that we get a little celebrate today. So, and that picture really shows that is 1948 when the lumber mill was going full tilt in McNary, Arizona.
Wow, and just imagine what it would be if we didn't have a lumber industry.
Right.
Just thinking of the weight and importance of that.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and really it's like, and it really even goes back earlier than that, because you had, like when Jack Swilling, when they all got here in the 1850s, it's like they found lots of trees, so they didn't have to bring in the wood for all these houses that were being built. So yeah, so I mean, lumber has been an important thing that's always been here. So, but people just don't realize that because you think desert.
Right.
I mean, no lumber growing, and indeed there was. All right, so, you know, besides celebrating lumber, we can celebrate some other things. All right, so today is National Cocktail Day.
Ooh.
And somehow, you know, we got to get on our team because there's no cocktails.
No, I don't see a cocktail.
I know. It's like,
It's not too early to start.
It's never too early to start. But, you know, cocktails are really, you know, they were one of those things that really kind of came of age during Prohibition because they were using such bottom barrel booze that the cocktails were to cover up all the flavors that you didn't want to taste.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Yeah, so there were cocktails
wow.
earlier, but they really became into their own during Prohibition because they were serving swill. And they
Oh my
wanted to make it
gosh.
taste better than swill.
Oh, wow.
So it was all those other things. And so all those speakeasies around the country, and you know, and Arizona was ripe with speakeasies and producing liquor out in the hinterlands. So.
Oh my gosh, I'm just really thinking, I'm wrapping my mind around that for a moment because there's one alcohol that I don't like, surprisingly, vodka. And a lot of people think, oh, that's kind of like the easy alcohol, you know, you just mix it with something, you can't even taste it. I think it tastes like hairspray. I don't know why, but vodka and I just don't mix together. I'm thinking, okay, if you mix a lot more mixers, more tolerable.
Right. Well, and you know, and some people also have different liquors they like or they don't like for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And so.
That's so true. My favorite is rum. I just love rum. Yeah.
So I'll remind you, so it's like coming up in April is going to be Tiki Oasis, Arizona.
Okay.
And so it basically is a long weekend of just celebration of rum beverages.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding.
So-
oh, how fun.
So it can be kind of dangerous.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
But a lot of fun.
Oh, that's so fun. I was just telling my partner yesterday, there's a restaurant that I love in Florida. It's a rum bar. Doc Ford's Rum Bar, I think it's called. I had no idea we had something right here in Arizona celebrating rum.
Yeah, and
That's so cool.
there used to be down on down the Roosevelt area basically it was rum bar, and so they had like 100 and some different rums. And so that was Dwayne, and so him and his wife actually wound up closing the restaurant and bar, and out of that he developed Big Blue Marble, which is a ginger beer. They have a variety of kind of mixers that are really high quality.
Oh my gosh.
So taking his love of rum and now turning that into those mixers that are now starting to go across the country as well.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So it is also International Day for Achievers. So as we pay homage to those doctors, innovators, scientists, politicians, activists, and artists, without all those achievements and service, the world would be a much different and probably blander place.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So
I had no idea. I giggled because I thought an International Day for Achievers, that's quite incredible.
you know, it's so funny because there's so many days for so many things, and that's kind of the fun of it. It was like,
You never guess.
And then, you know, if you were a little peckish, you know, our crew's slacking off. It's like, what happened to our chocolate-covered raisins? You know, it's chocolate-covered raisin day, and we have no chocolate-covered raisins.
Oh my gosh.
So
they're slacking off.
I know. It's like, you know, when you go to the movie theaters, you can get Raisinets right there. And so they've been around forever. And so you can celebrate them. You can get chocolate-covered raisins almost out of the bulk bins and a variety of places at the theater. So go out and enjoy, maybe go see a movie. Maybe play a little bit of hooky and go enjoy a movie and some chocolate-covered raisins.
That sounds so fun. I'm kind of thinking that'd be fun to make on your own. I've never made it. I've thought about making chocolate-covered nuts because I'll make this little chocolate paste. I can't have dairy, so I use I have dairy allergy, so I use cacao powder, coconut oil, and then a sweetener like stevia or something.
Right.
Sometimes put a little cinnamon in. I just make a little chocolate paste. So I could easily imagine throwing some raisins in there or some nuts and then refrigerating them. Right, easy.
Exactly.
Yep.
And at least fun to experiment, because then you get to eat the rewards and figure out, well, is it good? What do I need? Maybe more of this, less of that.
So true. Or you can just buy some Raisinets. That might be a lot easier.
Well, you know, whatever floats your boat or makes you happy. So it is also World Tuberculosis Day.
More serious one.
And so more serious, but it's to really kind of just raise awareness about the global epidemic of tuberculosis and trying to end the efforts to end the disease. But what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of that was early history of Arizona.
Oh, really?
So in the 1900s, you had a lot of people who were moving here. I've got friends who entire families would move because their aunt just had tuberculosis, so they came to Arizona for the clean, dry air.
Oh my gosh.
So the entire family would move here.
Wow.
And so for them to recuperate and get back on their feet.
Yeah.
So that plays in heavily to just the history. That's how
Yeah.
like John C. Lincoln Hospital got started, was because of tuberculosis.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
So yeah.
I had no idea. They call you the hip historian
They-
for a reason.
they do
You make it so
indeed,
fun and
because-
interesting.
Yeah, I mean tuberculosis, brought so many people here.
Yeah.
And so
oh my gosh.
and many of those families stayed.
Well, and I'm fascinated how you said end tuberculosis. So that's a
Well, and
movement.
it's still a thing, because I remember actually in the last couple of years there have been little spikes of it across the globe. And so it has not been eradicated.
Right. Absolutely.
So it
but I
is-
like that idea of thinking that we can, and how can we move toward that,
Right.
rather than just
Right.
dealing with it or dealing with the symptoms.
Right.
Yeah.
Or just okay, you know, putting people on an island.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So, you know, we could celebrate the end, hopefully at some point, of tuberculosis. What are some other things we could celebrate?
Oh.
Oh, crap, did I say celebrate? Oh, I meant things to do.
It is Monday, March 24th, and there are so many fun things to do. If you're in the mood for fun, here you go. First, naughty or nice. Drag bingo at the Cobalt. The Cobalt Bar in Phoenix at 8 p.m. tonight. Naughty or nice drag bingo. I mean, that says it all, right? So
It does. And so I can just imagine some of those naughty or nice prizes.
Yeah.
So-
I hear there's all kinds of prizes going on
There are. Maybe some require lube or batteries.
We'll let you use your imagination.
Exactly.
The iconic Drag Bingo returns to Cobalt for a very special edition. Olivia Gardens and Barbara Seville are back for a night of laughs. So don't take yourself too seriously. Just go and have a good time. Get there early to grab a seat. It's from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. for 21 and older. Right there in Phoenix on Central Avenue. Next, wait till you hear this one. We had to think about this for a second. Marg Madness at JoJo's. Marg Madness at JoJo's Shake Bar in Scottsdale starts at 11:30 a.m., goes all day until 9 p.m. So if you're not into basketball, no worries. JoJo's is bringing the real madness with 50% off patron margarita trees and a lineup of 80s and 90s classic shows and movies playing in-store every Monday during March Madness.
Oh, that is so funny.
Oh,
so as
my
like
gosh.
as a divergent from, it's like, so if you don't want to watch the basketball, you can watch something else.
Yes, you get into your own madness with all these margaritas. I'd have to see a margarita tree. I have to admit, I have not seen that before. And who needs brackets when you have margaritas? But I would imagine it'd be fun to take a guess at who's going to win after a few margaritas. Who's going to win the basketball?
Right, it wouldn't matter because I wouldn't care at that point. I would just too busy laughing and watching old TV shows.
All right, next, Monday Night Pinball at Player One Arcade in Surprise, tonight at 6:30 p.m. Monday night means pinball time in the West Valley. Do you think you have what it takes to be the best pinballer on this side of town? Come on down and show us. We play 5 rounds, and it's only a $1 entry fee.
Oh, you would spend more money on that on just the machines. So
Oh
that's
my gosh,
great.
yes. This is so fun. So we've got margaritas, we've got drag and bingo, now we've got
A little-
pinball.
something for everybody.
Something
there
for everybody.
You go.
But you got to, what is that called? Bilocate? Or I always forget what that's called. I think it's bilocate. Don't they do that in Star Wars where you're in one place and then you're in the other place at the same time?
Yeah.
How can you decide?
I know. and I love pinball. It's like growing up, it was like we'd go to the laundromat and they had pinball machines.
Oh,
and so that's what me
yes.
and my mom would do while the laundry was doing its thing. We'd just sit there and play pinball.
Oh, it's so fun.
So yeah, it was
Yeah.
great memories and so much fun. And I love that there's so many places to go play pinball.
Yes, yeah,
So-
it's so cool. Next, we have Build a Bag with Pickle Pie Designs at Mall Queen Sewing in Tempe at 10 a.m. today and tomorrow. So you'll build a bag with Lisa Archer of Pickle Pie Designs. It's a 2-day event that includes everything you need to make your own bag. How cool is that?
Oh, very
The
cool.
kit, designs, machines to use during the class, light breakfast, lunch, and more. That is so phenomenal.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I love how like everything, the machines and everything, so you don't have to like bring your own machine or have one of the embroidery machines that just does all the fancy stuff.
Yes, that is so cool. Right, because
Wow.
those embroidery machines are so expensive. I know my mom sews and knits and quilts, all the things. And yeah, those I just know that those machines are so expensive. So what a blessing to get to use their machines. And then you
Right.
walk out successful with the bag done, it sounds like.
Either for yourself or a great gift.
Yes, yes.
So.
And meet some friends along the way. That's always a good thing. And last but not least, we have the open studio at Conscious Creations Art Studio in Surprise. Another one in Surprise from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You bring your own projects, your materials, and bring your lunch. That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
You'll work independently in a safe, friendly, and professional environment. And there's always someone available to say, "You are great." We all need that, right?
Well, it's like, or you're making something, it's like, well, here are 2 different options. Which one is better?
Yes.
I mean, you kind of, it's like, get a little input on
That's
what do
so
you think
true.
looks the best, or
Yeah.
thinking about this, what do you think about that? So
That's so true. Yeah,
all that kind of crowdsourcing.
absolutely. So that's at Open Studio at Conscious Creation.
Wow, very cool. So many fun things to do. All the different places of your mind, just bump, 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 bump.
Yes, and for
So.
some reason, what I'm seeing visually is just colors. Margaritas, bingo, drag, art projects.
Lots of color.
Lots of colors.
So, all right. So let's talk about some birthdays.
Wake up, It's your birthday. Jump up, go have a great day. Everyone has come to see you. Make a wish and hope it comes true.
You know, part of the fun of doing birthdays is not just celebrating people who are currently having birthdays, but people who have had birthdays and are no longer with us. Folks
Yes.
like Harry Houdini.
Harry Houdini.
Yeah, the famous
wow.
magician. I mean, he was a escape artist, was famous for a Chinese water torture. He would be buried alive and pop up out of that, or escape from prison with police restraints. I mean, he really took being a magician to that celebrity status.
Oh my gosh. And have you by chance heard Dua Lipa's song, Houdini?
No.
Do you know Dua Lipa?
I do.
Pop star from the UK.
Yeah.
She has a song called Houdini, and it's so sassy. She basically says, catch me or I become Houdini, something like this.
Oh, fun.
And even this really sassy line, she says, prove you have the right to please me.
Oh.
Wow. That line just says
I was
so
gonna say,
much.
I'm surprised you don't have it on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
That seems like such a Courtney phrase.
Yes, especially for so many women who have shame around feeling good or feeling pleasure,
Right.
to actually say, hey, I deserve this. Prove you've got a right to please me. Not just, being kind of like
Right,
serving the partner. Anyway, so a little fun play on words with Houdini.
No, very
as we
cool.
honor Harry Houdini.
Exactly. And then we also have, Jim Parsons. You probably know him as Sheldon Cooper on The Big Bang Theory, which ran for 12 seasons from 2007 to 2019. And it is still one of the most popular series on TV. People are still watching. I've got friends who would get the whole family together for Big Bang, kind of that geek fest.
Oh, fun.
So they would have lots of fun with that. And he is turning 51 years old.
Sorry to interrupt. He's a quinquagenarian.
Indeed he is. It's like at this point we should have like ducks things flying from the ceiling and falling and glitter
Confetti,
and balloons. Yeah. Our team, it's like we have no cocktails, we have no chocolate covered raisins, we have no glitter bombs. So,
We gotta celebrate these birthdays in style.
indeed. And also another TV famous person, Allison Hannigan, who is, you probably know her as Willow on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She was also How I Met Your Mother. She was Lily, as well as having been in American Pie, the whole film series. So she is 50 years old. So she again is a quinquagenarian. So
Quinquagenarian. I like how you said it better. A quinquagenarian.
a quinquagenarian. There we go.
I hope that everyone listening remembers that word so you can tell your friends how cool you are if you're in your 50s.
And that you don't stutter when you talk, because it's like, oh my gosh. Okay, good. And so lastly, this person is not a quinquagenarian. So they are 48 and is Peyton Manning. So he is a 5-time league most valuable player. He played for the Indianapolis Colts for 14 seasons before signing with the Denver Broncos. And he also won the Super Bowl back in 2006. So happy 48th birthday. You are well on your way to becoming a quinquagenarian. It's probably a good thing we don't have glitter cannons, because we would be like knee deep in glitter right now.
That's so true. We can swim in it.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this Monday. We will be right back here tomorrow with another guest and more things to do, to celebrate, and just ways to enjoy your day. So we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Have a joyful day.